She screamed, "Trespasser." Then I bought the Marina before sunset. I was sitting in the middle of my ranch lake at sunrise, fishing with my old dog Ranger, when the HOA president pointed at me and screamed that I was trespassing. 10 minutes later, sheriff deputies were standing on my shoreline, while a crowd from Silver Ridge recorded me like I was some criminal. What they didn't know was this whole fight was about to cost them their Marina, their lies, and eventually their entire grip on the lake. And the craziest part? It all started because they thought a quiet rancher wouldn't fight back with paperwork. If you enjoy stories about land, justice, stubborn people, and small-town power fights, stick around with me on this channel. And before we get started, subscribe if you believe a man should still have the right to protect what's his without getting pushed around. The first time Silver Ridge Estates called the cops on me, I was sitting in a 12-foot aluminum fishing boat in the middle of my own lake. Sunrise had just broken over the western Montana ridge, throwing gold across the water and lighting up the old cottonwoods along the bank. Ranger, my gray-muzzled dog, lay curled at my feet with one ear twitching every time my fishing line clicked. I had a rod in one hand, a thermos of coffee beside me, and the kind of quiet a man does not find by accident. Then, Donna Whitaker came marching down the shoreline like the lake had personally offended her. She wore white slacks, sunglasses too big for her face, and a red Silver Ridge HOA blazer that looked ridiculous against the mud and cattails. Behind her, two neighbors stood near the gravel path, phones raised, recording like they were about to witness a crime. "Caleb Mercer," she shouted. "Get that boat off this water right now." I let the lure drift a few more feet before turning my head. "Morning, Donna. Do not morning me. You have been warned. This is Silver Ridge community water." Ranger lifted his head and gave one low bark. I looked around the lake, then back at her. That is strange, because my deed says this lake sits inside Mercer Ranch. Her mouth tightened. She pointed one sharp finger at my boat. "You people always think owning a little dirt gives you the right to ignore community rules. You people? Ranchers, holdouts, men who think fences and old paper make them kings." That one landed harder than I expected, but I kept my voice level. Old paper is what the county calls ownership. Donna smiled like she had been waiting for that. She raised her phone. "We will let law enforcement decide." 8 minutes later, a sheriff's cruiser rolled down the ranch road, tires grinding over dust and loose stone. The lights were flashing, but the siren was off. That somehow made it worse. Like the whole thing was too embarrassing for sound. Deputy Aaron Pike stepped out first. I knew him by sight. Young guy, decent enough, with the tired face of somebody sent to handle a problem he already knew was stupid. Sheriff Mason Cole came out from the passenger side, hat low, hand resting near his belt. Donna rushed toward them before either man shut his door. "He is trespassing," she said. "We have families who use this lake. We have children. He has been told this is not private water." Sheriff Cole looked from Donna to me, then to my boat sitting dead center on the lake. "Caleb," he called. "Can you bring it in?" I reeled slowly, not because I had to, but because I was not giving Donna the satisfaction of seeing me rush. Ranger stood as I guided the boat to the dock, his paws braced against the metal floor. The water slapped softly against the hull. When I stepped out, my boots sank ankle-deep in the shallows. I was still holding the rod. The sheriff glanced at it, then gave a small sigh. "Morning, Caleb." "Morning, Sheriff." Donna cut in. "You know this man?" "I know most folks around here." "Then you know he is creating a legal problem." Sheriff Cole turned toward me. "She says Silver Ridge has lake access rights. She can say whatever she wants. My deed is in the truck." Donna laughed under her breath. "A deed does not erase 20 years of community use." I looked at her then, really looked. She was not confused, she was not mistaken. She knew exactly what she was doing. She wanted me standing wet and embarrassed in front of her residents. explaining my own land like I was the intruder. That was the moment the morning changed. I walked to my pickup, opened the glove box, and pulled out the folded copy I always kept there. The paper was worn soft at the creases. Mercer Ranch, 48 acres. Spring-fed lake included inside the surveyed boundary. Water rights, shoreline rights, access road, all recorded. I handed it to Sheriff Cole. He read in silence. Deputy Pike leaned over his shoulder. Donna shifted her weight. This does show the lake inside his parcel, Cole said. Donna snapped. That cannot be the whole file. It is the recorded deed. There are historical agreements. Do you have one with you? Her jaw flexed. The HOA has records. Then bring them. The two neighbors stopped recording. For a second there was only wind moving through the cottonwoods and Ranger panting beside my knee. Donna stepped closer, lowering her voice just enough to sound dangerous. You are making a mistake, Mr. Mercer. Silver Ridge has used this lake since before you came here. We will not let one bitter old rancher steal a community tradition. I felt the heat rise in my chest, but I did not give it to her. My brother left me this ranch, I said. That boathouse over there still has his name carved into the workbench. This lake is not a tradition to me. It is family. Her eyes flicked toward the boathouse, then back to me. Sentiment does not override the needs of a neighborhood. No, I said, but ownership does. Sheriff Cole handed the deed back. Donna, unless you produce a court order or a recorded easement, this is civil at best. Right now, I do not see trespassing. She looked furious but not defeated. That mattered. This is not over, she said. I believed her. The deputies left a few minutes later. Donna stayed on the bank, arms crossed, sunglasses hiding her eyes. I pushed the boat back into the water and climbed in with Ranger. I did not fish. I just sat there, letting the boat drift 20 yards from shore while Donna watched me like a woman measuring where to strike next. That was when I took out my phone. I did not call my lawyer. I did not call the sheriff. I called Travis Hale, the only real estate broker in Winslow County, who knew every old dock, easement, and handshake deal from here to the Idaho line. He answered on the third ring, voice rough with sleep. Caleb, everything all right? I kept my eyes on Donna Whitaker standing on my shoreline. Travis, I said, I need you to find out who owns the old Silver Ridge Marina. There was a pause. Their marina? Not theirs, I said. Find out who really owns it. Donna's mouth moved as she talked to one of her neighbors, probably already planning the next complaint. She had no idea the ground under her feet was about to move. Travis exhaled. How fast do you need this? I looked across the lake at the dock they had used for parties, boat launches, meetings, and summer concerts. The dock I had tolerated because I believed peace was cheaper than war. Then I looked back at Donna. Fast, I said. Before sunset. I hung up and slipped the phone back into my pocket while Ranger settled beside me in the boat again. Donna was still standing near the shoreline with her arms crossed, talking hard into her own phone now. Probably the HOA board. Probably already rewriting the story before the deputies even reached the county road. I pushed the trolling motor forward and headed toward the west dock. By the time I loaded the boat onto the trailer, Donna had disappeared. But two fresh tire tracks cut deep through the mud near my gate, where HOA residents had parked to watch the show. That told me everything I needed to know. This was not over. An hour later, I was driving my old Ford pickup through Winslow Bend, with dust rolling behind me and Ranger asleep across the bench seat. The lake still clung to my boots. My fishing rod rattled lightly against the back window every time the truck hit a pothole. Travis Hale's office sat beside the feed store downtown, in a brick building that looked older than half the county. The sign on the door read Hale Land and Title. Below it hung another smaller sign that simply said, water rights, easements, estate sales. That was why I trusted him. Travis looked up from behind a stack of folders when I walked in. You look irritated, he said. I got accused of trespassing on my own lake before breakfast. He leaned back slowly. Donna Whitaker finally snapped. Huh? She called the sheriff. That woman calls more lawyers than pizza places. I dropped into the chair across from him. You find anything? Instead of answering, Travis pulled open a drawer and slid a thin manila file across the desk. I already started looking after your call. Inside sat copies of county maps, tax records, and a Marina survey from 12 years earlier. I flipped through them. The old Silver Ridge Marina sat on a narrow strip of shoreline east of my ranch boundary. Boat launch, parking area, floating dock access. One gravel service road cutting through cottonwoods to the highway. But one thing immediately stood out. Owner of record, Garrison Recreation Holdings, LLC, not Silver Ridge HOA. I looked up. They never owned it? Not even close, Travis said. They leased it. For how long? 10-year commercial access agreement. When did it expire? He slid another paper toward me. 2 months ago. I stared at the date. Donna Whitaker had just called law enforcement over access rights. Her HOA technically did not even have any more. That is not all, Travis said quietly. He opened another folder. Inside sat 3 complaint notices filed by Silver Ridge against the Marina owners over the past 2 years. Noise disputes, dock repairs, parking restrictions, insurance demands. At the bottom of the last complaint, one sentence had been underlined in red ink. Silver Ridge Estates reserves the right to pursue alternate ownership options if management fails to comply. I almost laughed. They tried bullying the Marina owners too. Looks that way. Who owns Garrison Recreation? Older couple. Out near Helena, they inherited the property from family. According to the file, they are tired of dealing with the HOA and already listed the Marina privately last spring. How much? Travis named a number. It was high enough to sting, but low enough to move fast. I leaned back in the chair, thinking about Donna standing on my shoreline like she owned the county. Thinking about those HOA residents recording me beside my own boat. Then I thought about the Marina, their summer parties, their boat launches, their fishing tournaments, their precious community lake access. Every bit of it ran through that property. Travis watched my face carefully. You are seriously considering this. I am past considering. Caleb, if you buy that Marina, this thing becomes war. No, I said. Calling the cops on me this morning was war. This is paperwork. For the first time since I walked in, Travis smiled. That is probably the most dangerous sentence I have heard all year. 3 hours later, we were sitting in a title office with stale coffee, fluorescent lights, and a notary named Linda who kept glancing nervously between me and the paperwork like she sensed trouble buried inside it. The Marina owners joined by video call from Helena. An exhausted-looking older man appeared on the screen beside his wife. You really want this place? He asked me. Yes, sir. You understand the HOA is going to lose their minds. They already have. The old man barked out one short laugh. Well, then maybe you are exactly who should own it. The papers moved quickly after that. Purchase agreement, transfer authorization, shoreline easement rights, dock liability assignment, launch access control. Every signature tightened the knot another inch. At 4:42 p.m., Linda stamped the final page. It is official, she said. Just like that, the Silver Ridge Marina belonged to me. Travis gathered the folders while I stared at the deeds sitting on the table. The feeling was not triumph. Not yet. It felt more like balance shifting. Outside, evening light stretched long across the town as we walked toward the truck. You planning to tell Donna tonight? Travis asked. I opened the driver's side door. No. You are just going to sit on this for about 12 hours. He frowned. Why? I looked west toward the hills where Silver Ridge sat above the lake. Because tomorrow is their annual lakeside barbecue. Travis stopped walking. Oh hell. I climbed into the truck. They sent flyers all over the county, I said. Families, food trucks, live music, and every single one of them is supposed to enter through your Marina. Exactly. Ranger lifted his head as the engine turned over. Travis rested his arms on the open window frame. Caleb, what are you planning? I pulled the new Marina deed onto the passenger seat beside me. Then I looked at the clock on the dashboard. 5:11 p.m., just enough daylight left. I am planning, I said, to install a gate. As I pulled out onto the road, my phone buzzed against the steering wheel. Unknown number. I answered it through the truck speakers. Mr. Mercer? Female voice, sharp, controlled, Donna Whitaker. You embarrassed yourself this morning, she said. Silver Ridge will be holding an emergency board meeting tonight regarding your interference with community property. I kept driving. That so? You still have time to cooperate before attorneys get involved. Dust rolled behind the truck tires. Far ahead, I could already see the road leading toward the marina through the trees. I smiled slightly. Donna, I said calmly, you should probably cancel tomorrow's barbecue. Silence. Then her voice hardened. You do not tell Silver Ridge what to do. I glanced toward the deed beside me. No, I said, but the owner of your marina probably can, and I hung up. For a few seconds, the only sound inside the truck was Ranger breathing against the seat and gravel snapping beneath the tires. Then, Travis started laughing from the passenger side, hard enough he had to wipe his eyes. Oh, she is going to lose her mind. She already has. We turned off the county road onto the narrow gravel path leading toward the marina. The place looked exactly like it had that morning. Old wooden sign, faded picnic tables, aluminum fishing boats chained beside the launch ramp. Only difference now was the deed folded inside my jack pocket. 2 contractors were already waiting near the entrance, with a flatbed trailer carrying steel posts and a black iron gate wrapped in chains. Travis looked at me sideways. You planned this fast. I have dealt with people like Donna before. HOA presidents, engineers with power. That got another laugh out of him. The foreman climbed down from the trailer. You Caleb Mercer? That is me. You really want this gate up tonight? Yes. The man glanced toward the marina. Folks around here saying the HOA throws some big event tomorrow. They can throw it somewhere else, he shrugged. Works for me. For the next 2 hours, sparks flew across the gravel as the crew cut steel posts into place. Ranger sat beside my truck watching every movement like he was supervising the project personally. I walked the shoreline while they worked. The marina connected to the lake through a narrow stretch of water lined with old pine pilings. Silver Ridge residents had treated the place like their own backyard for years. Half the dock boards were painted in HOA colors. Somebody had even mounted little decorative lanterns along the railings. I crouched beside one of them. Stamped into the metal base were the words, Property of Silver Ridge Estates. I almost admired the confidence. Claim something long enough and eventually people stop asking questions. The trouble started because nobody expected the quiet rancher to ask for paperwork. By dark, the gate stood locked across the entrance road. Private property, authorized access only. The signs reflected bright white under the contractor floodlights. Travis stared at it with his hands in his pockets. That is going to cause a riot tomorrow morning. Probably. You nervous? I looked out across the black water toward my ranch on the far side of the lake. A single light glowed inside the boathouse. No, I said. But I am paying attention. That mattered more. Because Donna Whitaker was not the kind of person who accepted losing quietly. By the time I got home, it was nearly midnight. Ranger jumped from the truck first and trotted toward the porch while I grabbed the marina files from the passenger seat. Halfway to the front door, my boot hit something buried in the dirt beside the steps, a broken wooden sign. I bent down and picked it up. Private property. No trespassing. The same sign that had been mounted beside my lake road 3 days earlier. Snapped clean in half. I stood there for a long moment staring at it under the porch light. Then I looked toward the lake. The shoreline sat dark and still. but something about it felt wrong. I grabbed the flashlight from the truck and walked downhill through the grass. The old fence line appeared first, then the dock, then the boathouse, and then I saw the footprints. Fresh boot prints pressed deep into the mud beside the water. At least 3 people. One set led directly to the boathouse door. My grip tightened on the flashlight. Ranger growled low beside me. The padlock hung crooked from the latch, like somebody had tested it hard enough to bend the metal. I swept the light across the side wall. Fresh scratches marked the paint beside my brother's old workbench window. Not random, deliberate a warning. I opened the boathouse slowly. The smell of lake water and old cedar hit me immediately. Fishing rods lined the far wall exactly where I left them. My brother's old tackle cabinet still sat beneath the window. Nothing stolen, nothing broken. Whoever came down here was not trying to rob me. They wanted me to know they could reach the place whenever they wanted. Ranger kept staring toward the dock. Then headlights suddenly flashed through the trees. I stepped back outside just as a black SUV rolled slowly along the far edge of the shoreline road. It stopped for maybe 2 seconds. Long enough for me to see Donna Whitaker sitting in the passenger seat. Long enough for her to see me standing beside the boathouse. Then the SUV drove off into the dark. I did not chase it. I did not yell. I just memorized the license plate. The next morning started with coffee, silence, and helicopters. Not real helicopters, toy ones. Some HOA resident had tied silver balloons and little spinning propellers all over the Marina entrance overnight. A cheap attempt to mock the gate. By 9 a.m., the barbecue crowd started arriving. Families, coolers, pickup trucks, golf carts, then confusion. The gate stopped every single one of them. A private security guard I hired from town stood calmly beside the entrance checking paperwork nobody had. People started arguing almost immediately. I have been coming here for 15 years. My kids fish here. The HOA newsletter said this was community property. The guard only repeated one sentence. "Sir, this marina is privately owned." That was when Donna arrived. Her white SUV came flying down the gravel road fast enough to throw dust over half the parking area. She jumped out before the engine even stopped. "What the hell is this?" she shouted. Dozens of residents turned toward her. I stayed seated in the folding chair beside the dock sipping black coffee while Ranger slept at my boots. Donna stormed toward me. "You think this is funny? No, you cannot block legal HOA access." I reached into my jacket and pulled out the fold deed. "Actually," I said calmly, "I can." The entire crowd went quiet. Donna stared at the paperwork like it physically hurt her. "You bought the marina? Yesterday. You did this out of spite." "No," I said. "I did it because you called the cops on me for fishing in my own lake." Several residents exchanged looks. That was the first crack, small but real. Then an older man near the back raised his voice. "Donna, did the HOA actually own this place?" She snapped around instantly. "Of course we did." I handed the man a copy of the Marina transfer. He read the first page slowly. Then he looked back up at her. "No," he said quietly. "Looks like you leased it." And suddenly every conversation in the parking lot started at once. People pulled out phones. Couples stepped away from the barbecue tables, arguing in low voices. One woman folded her HOA flyer in half and shoved it into her purse, like she suddenly did not want to be seen holding it. Donna Whitaker looked furious. "Everybody calm down," she snapped. "This is a temporary legal dispute." I stayed seated beside the dock. "No dispute," I said. "The marina belongs to me now. You manipulated the sale. The owners accepted my offer. You did this to punish the neighborhood." "No," I said evenly. "I did it because you treated my property like it belonged to Silver Ridge." A tall man near the back crossed his arms. "Donna, did the HOA board know the lease expired?" Her eyes flashed toward him. "That is irrelevant." Which was the wrong answer. The crowd shifted again, tension rolling through the parking area like pressure before a storm. People had shown up expecting burgers and live music. Instead, they found out their HOA president might have been bluffing about lake access for years. That was when Donna made her mistake. She pointed directly at me. This man is trying to isolate the community. He wants control over the lake. I stood slowly. The lake already has an owner. Silence, not loud silence either, the dangerous kind. The kind where people start reconsidering everything they have been told. Donna looked around and realized she was losing the room. So she did what people like her always do when facts stop working. She escalated. "You think this is over?" she hissed at me, quietly enough the crowd could not hear. "You have no idea how much trouble you just bought yourself." Then she turned and stormed back toward her SUV, while residents kept firing questions at her. I watched her leave without another word, because she was right about one thing. This was not over. By late afternoon, the Marina parking lot sat empty except for crushed paper plates blowing across the gravel, and one abandoned cooler beside the fence. I locked the gate personally before heading back across the ranch. Ranger rode in the passenger seat, with his head hanging out the window while I replayed the day in my mind. The HOA had cracked faster than I expected. Not publicly, maybe, but privately. People start asking dangerous questions the second paperwork enters the conversation. Who owns it? Who pays for it? Who lied? And Donna Whitaker suddenly had no clean answers. When I pulled into my ranch driveway, I saw another surprise waiting. A white envelope taped to my front gate. No stamp, no address. Just my name written in sharp black marker. I opened it standing beside the truck, and inside sat a printout notice from Silver Ridge Estates HOA. Community. Violation warning. The document accused me of interference with neighborhood recreation, disruption of community access, aggressive behavior toward residents, unauthorized modification of shoreline use. At the bottom, Donna had signed it personally. Then I noticed something else clipped behind the notice. A proposed fine schedule. $500 per day. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was desperate. They no longer controlled the Marina, so now they were pretending they controlled me. Ranger barked toward the lake. I looked up. The sun was almost gone behind the hills, and lights had started appearing across Silver Ridge on the far shoreline. Little glowing squares above the water. Somewhere over there, Donna was probably gathering her board together, trying to figure out how to recover control. That thought stayed with me through dinner, and through the next hour while I sat at the kitchen table, reviewing the Marina files again. Then the power went out. The house dropped into darkness instantly. Ranger jumped to his feet, growling. I looked through the front window. Every house across Silver Ridge still had lights. Only my ranch was dark. I grabbed the flashlight from the counter and stepped outside. The air smelled faintly like hot metal. Halfway down the side yard, I found the breaker box hanging open beside the pole barn. The main switch had been forced down manually. Not storm damage, not an outage. Somebody had walked onto my property and shut off my power. Ranger's growl deepened beside me. Fresh boot prints cut through the dirt toward the shoreline trail. I flipped the power back on and headed downhill with the flashlight. The beam swept across fences, grass, boat trailer, dock posts, then stopped. The boathouse door stood partially open. I froze. That building mattered more than the Marina, more than the dock, more than the HOA. My brother built that place himself 2 summers before cancer took him. Every fishing map, every lure, every carved wooden sign inside still carried pieces of him, and somebody was inside. I heard metal scrape against wood, then a loud crack. I moved fast down the slope. Hey! The flashlight beam hit the doorway just as Donna Whitaker stepped backward out of the shadows, holding a crowbar. For 1 second even, she looked shocked. I caught her. Then her face hardened immediately. "This facility belongs to the community," she snapped. Ranger lunged forward, barking hard enough to echo across the lake. I pushed past Donna into the boathouse. One of the storage lockers hung broken open. My brother's old tackle cabinet had been knocked sideways. Framed lake photos lay scattered across the floor. Anger hit me so hard I had to physically stop myself from speaking too fast. You broke into my building. You cannot steal public access property. I pointed toward the camera mounted above the workbench. Donna finally looked up, small black dome, flashing red light, recording everything. Her confidence flickered for the first time since I met her. You installed cameras? 3 days ago. The crowbar lowered slightly in her hand. Good, now she understood. I walked slowly toward the cabinet and picked up one of the fallen photographs. My brother standing beside this same dock holding a trout nearly the size of his arm. The glass had cracked straight across his face. Something inside me went cold. Not rage, worse, control. I turned back toward Donna. You should leave. You think footage scares me? No, I said calmly. But judges tend to like it. That landed. She stared at me for another long second, then shoved past my shoulder toward the door. This is not finished, Caleb? No, I agreed. Now it is documented. Donna stopped walking, only for a second. Then she disappeared into the dark toward the shoreline trail. I stood there listening to her footsteps fade. Ranger nudged against my leg while I stared at the broken cabinet. Then I pulled out my phone and made another call, this time to Ellen Brooks, best property attorney in 3 counties. She answered immediately. Ellen Brooks. Sorry for the late call, I said, but I think my HOA problem just became criminal. There was no pause, no surprise in her voice. Ellen had been practicing property law in western Montana for 30 years. She had heard calm men say dangerous things before. Tell me exactly what happened, she said. I stood in the broken doorway of the boathouse. Ranger pressed against my leg and gave her the clean version. Power box forced off, footprints. Donna Whitaker inside my boathouse with a crowbar. Broken locker, threats, camera footage. When I finished, Ellen asked one question. Did you touch the crowbar? No. Good. Do not clean anything. Do not repair anything. Photograph everything. Then call Sheriff Mason Cole and file a report before she files one first. I looked at the cracked photo frame in my hand. She is going to claim community access. She can claim the moon, Ellen said. You own the deed. Now you have evidence. 20 minutes later, Sheriff Cole was standing under the boathouse light with Deputy Pike, taking photos of the damaged latch and the bent power box. He watched the footage on my phone without interrupting. Donna's face appeared clearly under the workbench camera, her hand around the crowbar, her voice calling my boathouse community property. Sheriff Cole exhaled through his nose. That is not helpful for her. No, I said, it is not. You want to press charges tonight? I looked toward Ranger, who was still staring at the broken locker like he did not trust the room anymore. Make the report, I said. Ellen will handle the rest. Cole nodded. Smart. By 2 a.m., Ellen had the footage, the Marina deed, the original ranch deed, and photos of every footprint between the shoreline trail and the boathouse. By sunrise, she had already sent Donna and the Silver Ridge Board a formal notice of trespass, property damage, and unlawful interference. The subject line was simple. Cease and desist. Mercer Ranch and Silver Ridge Marina. I read it once at the kitchen table while coffee steamed beside my elbow. Ellen did not waste words. Silver Ridge Estates HOA had no recorded ownership interest in Mercer Ranch, no current leasehold interest in the marina, no authority to regulate my lake, no authority to issue fines against me, no right to enter my property. The final paragraph was the blade. Any further entry, threats, false reports, or attempts to interfere with my ownership would trigger civil action, criminal referrals, and emergency injunctive relief. I forwarded a copy to Travis. His reply came back in 10 seconds. Well, hell, that should ruin her breakfast. It did more than that. At 8:17 a.m., Donna Whitaker sent a mass email to Silver Ridge residents, accusing me of aggressive seizure of community recreation infrastructure. She claimed I had locked children out of the lake. She claimed I was harassing HOA officers. She claimed the board was exploring all available remedies. What she did not mention was the expired lease, or the crowbar, or the sheriff's report. So I decided the next move needed to be public. By noon, the old Marina Road had changed completely. The temporary chain gate was replaced with a full iron barrier, bolted into concrete. The contractor installed 2 steel posts deep enough to stop a truck. A keypad box went on the side. Not because anyone would be getting a code, but because I wanted the line to look official. 2 new signs went up beside it. Private property, no HOA access. Questions may be directed to Mercer Ranch Legal Counsel. Travis stood beside me reading the sign. That last line is mean. That last line is accurate. A white golf cart appeared at the bend before he could answer. Then another. Then 3 SUVs. The HOA crowd came earlier than expected. Families stepped out first, confused and irritated. A man carrying a cooler stared at the gate like it might move if he frowned hard enough. 2 teenagers took pictures. A woman in yoga pants pointed at the sign and said, "No HOA access? What does that even mean?" Then Donna arrived. She came in fast white SUV throwing dust high enough to coat the front row of vehicles. Carl Benson got out behind her, bald head shining under the sun, sweater vest buttoned like he was walking into a bank meeting instead of a legal problem. Donna marched to the gate and grabbed the bars with both hands. "Open it." I was sitting 20 feet away in a folding chair beside the Marina office. Ranger lay under the shade of my truck. Travis leaned against the door with his arms crossed. "Good morning, Donna. Do not start with me. You got Ellen's letter? This gate is illegal. Show me the document that says so." Her jaw tightened. "The HOA has community access rights." "No, it had a lease. The lease expired. I bought the property." Carl stepped forward, trying for calm. "Mr. Mercer, perhaps we can discuss a temporary accommodation. Residents are upset." "They should be," I said. "They were misinformed." That landed harder than I expected. A few residents looked at Carl. Donna snapped, "Do not speak to my members. They are standing on my property entrance." Carl lowered his voice. "We are prepared to offer a reasonable usage fee while this gets sorted out. The offer is rejected. You have not heard the amount. I heard Donna call the sheriff on me yesterday. I heard her in my boathouse last night with a crowbar. That was enough." The crowd went silent so fast even the lake seemed to pause. Donna's face went pale, then red. "That is a lie." I pulled my phone from my pocket and held it up. "No," I said. "That is footage." Carl turned toward Donna. For 1 second, he looked truly surprised, not innocent, surprised. That told me the board did not know everything she had done. A woman near the back stepped forward slowly. Gray hair, sun hat, sharp eyes. "I am June Patterson," she said. "Donna told us you were refusing a safety inspection. She broke into my boathouse." June looked at Donna. "With a crowbar?" Donna pointed at me. "He is twisting this." I tapped the file folder on the table beside me. Sheriff report number is inside. So is the Marina deed. So is the expired lease. June walked toward me. Donna barked, "June, do not." June stopped, turned, and stared at her. "Why not?" Donna did not answer. That was the second crack. Bigger this time. I handed June the folder. She opened it in front of everyone. The first page was the Marina deed with my name on it. The second was the expired lease. The third was a still image from my boathouse camera showing Donna Whitaker holding a crowbar. June's hand trembled slightly. "Oh, Donna," she said. "What have you done?" Nobody spoke. Donna backed away from the gate, eyes moving from resident to resident, searching for control and finding none. Then my phone buzzed. A new email. Sender, Silver Ridge Estates HOA. Subject, Notice of Emergency Board Action. I opened it. The first line made Travis curse under his breath. Effective immediately, Silver Ridge Estates asserts emergency jurisdiction over disputed lakefront facilities pending review. I looked up at Donna. She was smiling again. Not because she had won, because she had just decided to make the lie official. Donna folded her arms and stepped forward like she was standing behind a podium instead of a locked Marina gate. Silver Ridge Estates is invoking emergency authority over disputed recreational infrastructure pending legal clarification. Travis blinked slowly beside me. Did she just invent government powers? Sounds like it. Carl Benson shifted uncomfortably behind her. He looked like a man realizing halfway through a poker game that his partner had been hiding cards. June Patterson handed my file folder back carefully. Donna, she said, you cannot just declare ownership because you are angry. This community has historical rights. No, I said calmly. You had permission. Those are different things. A few heads nodded. Donna saw it too. That was the real danger for her now. Not me, not Ellen Brooks, not the sheriff. Questions. Questions destroy bad leadership faster than lawsuits. Donna pointed toward the gate again. You are isolating families from the lake. I locked a marina I legally own. You are punishing innocent residents. I did not break into anyone's property with a crowbar. That hit hard enough several people physically looked away from her. Carl stepped in quickly. Everybody calm down. The board will review all documents and provide clarification. Good idea, I said. Start with the expired lease. Carl's face tightened. He did not know, not fully. Donna had been hiding things from her own board. Interesting. The crowd slowly started breaking apart after that. Some residents left angry. Others left quiet. A few stayed behind, asking Travis questions about marina access and property lines. Donna did not answer any of them. She climbed back into her SUV without another word and drove off hard enough to spray gravel against the gate. June stayed behind. She stood beside the dock, looking out over the lake for a long moment before speaking. My husband helped build some of those picnic tables 30 years ago, she said quietly. Back then, everybody just shared the water. I know. Mr. Cole let people use it. He did. She looked at me carefully, but he still owned it. Yes. June nodded slowly like something unpleasant had finally settled into place. Donna told us the HOA purchased the rights years ago. She have paperwork? June gave a humorless little laugh. If she did, she would have shown it already. That was the third crack. And this one mattered because it came from inside the neighborhood itself. By evening, Silver Ridge residents had started emailing me directly. Not threats, questions. One asked if the marina truly belonged to me now. Another wanted to know whether the HOA had actually spent dues money on attorneys already. A third simply wrote, "Did Donna really break into your boathouse?" I did not answer immediately. Instead, I called Ellen. She is claiming emergency authority now, I told her. Ellen actually laughed. Wonderful. That sounds bad. No, she said. It sounds desperate. HOAs cannot invent easements because their president gets embarrassed in public. She is still escalating. Good, Ellen replied. The more official lies she tells, the easier this becomes later. Later. That word stayed with me, because I realized something sitting there at the kitchen table while Ranger slept under the window. Donna still believed this was about intimidation. She thought, if she pushed hard enough, embarrassed me enough, buried me in paperwork long enough, I would eventually give her part of the lake just to end the fight. She still did not understand the one thing that mattered. I was done giving ground. The next morning I started preparing my own move. Not another gate, not another letter. A meeting. By noon, Travis and I were hanging flyers across Winslow Bend. Lakefront Community Cookout Saturday, 3 p.m. Mercer Ranch Shoreline Property Records available for public review. At the bottom, one final line. Questions welcome. Travis stapled the last flyer beside the feed store bulletin board. You really think people will show up? Donna already made sure they will. That turned out to be true. Because by Friday night, Silver Ridge Facebook groups were melting down. Some residents defended Donna. Others demanded financial transparency from the HOA board. One post leaked screenshots of legal invoices tied to lake access enforcement. Another resident claimed HOA dues had increased twice in 2 years because of shoreline litigation expenses. Then somebody posted a photo of my Marina deed. After that, the comments exploded. Saturday afternoon arrived hot and windy. I set up folding tables near the shoreline beneath strings of temporary lights. Travis brought coolers. June Patterson showed up early carrying homemade potato salad and enough gossip to fuel a courthouse election. "You know Carl Benson?" she asked quietly while arranging paper plates. HOA treasurer. "He has been calling residents all morning telling them not to come. Why? Because Donna is terrified you are going to show records publicly." I smiled slightly. That is exactly what I am going to do. By 2:45 p.m., cars were already lining the ranch road. Families, retirees, teenagers on bikes, people who looked curious more than angry. Even Sheriff Mason Cole parked near the fence line, though he stayed beside his truck. Smart man. He knew trouble when he saw a crowd gathering around paperwork. Donna arrived exactly at 3:02. White SUV, perfect blazer, controlled expression. Only this time fewer people moved toward her. Most stayed facing me. That mattered. I stepped onto the little wooden platform Travis built from old dock planks and looked across the crowd. Then I held up the ranch deed. "My name is Caleb Mercer," I said, "and this lake belongs to my family ranch." Silence settled across the shoreline. The last owner allowed public use informally, but permission is not ownership. Somewhere along the line, Silver Ridge stopped understanding the difference. Donna folded her arms. "You are twisting history." "No," I said. "I am reading county records." A few people laughed nervously. I opened the first folder and projected copies of the Marina lease onto the portable screen behind me. Leaseholder, Silver Ridge Estates HOA. Expiration date, 2 months earlier. The crowd murmured immediately. Then I displayed the Marina transfer paperwork with my signature. The murmuring got louder. Donna stepped forward. "These documents are incomplete." Ellen Brooks appeared beside me, holding another folder. "No," she said calmly. "They are certified." Donna froze. Several residents turned toward her at once. Then June Patterson raised her voice from the crowd. "Donna," she said sharply, "did you know the lease expired before you called the sheriff on this man?" Donna opened her mouth. Nothing came out. And right then, standing beside the lake with 50 residents staring at her, Donna Whitaker lost control of the room for the first time. But before anyone could speak again, Ranger suddenly growled low beside the dock. I looked toward the ranch house uphill. Something dark sat scattered across my front lawn. Dozens of shapes. Flies already circling above them. And even from the shoreline, I could smell the rot. The conversation behind me died instantly. Ranger barked once and sprinted uphill toward the house. I followed fast, pushing through the crowd while people turned to stare at the lawn. Dead fish, dozens of them. Big lake trout, gutted and dumped across the grass, in long wet streaks from the porch steps to the driveway. Somebody had driven a wooden stake into the center of the yard. A red HOA notice flapped from it in the wind. Community strong. The smell hit harder up close. June Patterson stopped several feet behind me and covered her mouth. Good Lord. Sheriff Mason Cole walked slowly through the grass, studying the scene without touching anything. "This happened before the meeting?" he asked. "No." "You got cameras on the house?" "Yes." That was the first good thing anybody had said in 10 minutes. Donna Whitaker was still standing near the shoreline crowd when Sheriff Cole turned toward her. "You know anything about this?" Her expression tightened immediately. "Absolutely not." "You sure? This is disgusting." That answer was careful, too careful. I looked at her for a long moment. Donna had spent weeks escalating pressure, threats, fake fines, and public humiliation. But this felt different, sloppier, emotional, like somebody losing control. Sheriff Cole called Deputy Pike up to the house. while I headed inside for the security system. The camera monitor sat above the kitchen counter, showing 6 different angles around the ranch: driveway, barn, dock, boathouse, front gate, porch. I rolled the footage backward to 2:43 a.m. Headlights appeared first. SUV, silver. Ranger growled low beside the chair before the image even sharpened fully. The vehicle stopped near the lower fence line. A hooded figure climbed out, dragging 2 black trash bags across the grass. Even grainy night footage could not hide the walk. Sharp shoulders, fast steps, rigid posture. Donna Whitaker. Deputy Pike leaned closer to the screen. Well, that is unfortunate. The figure ripped open the bags and dumped fish across my lawn. Then she hammered the wooden stake into the dirt beside the porch. Community strong. She looked directly toward the camera, once while pulling the hood tighter around her face. Not enough. The porch light caught her perfectly. I paused the frame. Nobody spoke. Sheriff Cole finally exhaled. That is clear enough for me. Behind us, voices started rising outside again. Residents were arguing now. Some angry at Donna. Others confused. The whole neighborhood had started splitting right down the middle. I copied the footage onto a flash drive and handed it to the sheriff. "You want charges filed?" he asked. I thought about the broken boathouse, the false police report, the HOA fines, the fish scattered across my lawn. Then I thought about the residents standing outside who genuinely had no idea what their board had been doing. "Not yet," I said. Cole raised an eyebrow. "You are giving her another chance?" "No," I replied. "I am giving the neighborhood a chance to see the truth first." That surprised him. Good, because I already knew what my next move was going to be. Donna Whitaker had spent weeks controlling information, so I was going to take that away from her too. By sunset, Ellen Brooks arrived at the ranch, carrying 3 thick folders and the kind of expression lawyers get when a case stops being complicated and starts becoming easy. "She really did this herself?" Ellen asked after watching the footage. "Middle of the night. She is unraveling. That makes her dangerous." Ellen nodded once. "Good instinct." She spread HOA financial statements across my kitchen table next to the Marina deed. "These came from a resident," she said. The pages were highlighted heavily in yellow. Legal consultation fees, emergency shoreline enforcement costs, community protection expenditures, large numbers, repeated numbers. One payment line caught my eye immediately. Willow Strategic Consulting, $18,500. I asked. "None." "What is Willow Strategic?" Ellen slid another paper toward me. "Corporate registration records. Owner, Donna Whitaker." I stared at the page. She billed the HOA through her own company. Looks like it. That changed everything. Before this, Donna looked like an out-of-control HOA president. Now she looked like somebody using neighborhood money to fund a personal war. Ellen tapped the documents carefully. "If these numbers hold up, this becomes more than harassment. Potential fraud, misuse of HOA funds, self-dealing." Outside, headlights rolled slowly past the ranch road again. Silver Ridge residents, watching, whispering, trying to figure out which version of the story was real. "Can we prove it?" I asked. "We can start." That was enough for me. The next morning, Silver Ridge exploded. Somebody leaked the fish footage. I never found out who. Maybe June. Maybe Deputy Pike. Maybe one of the residents standing outside the house. Did not matter. By breakfast, screenshots of Donna in the hoodie were circulating through every neighborhood group in the county. At noon, Carl Benson appeared at my gate alone. No Donna, no board members, no attitude. Just Carl sweating through another sweater vest while holding a folder against his chest. Ranger barked hard the second he stepped out of the car. "I am not here for trouble," Carl said quickly. "Then why are you here?" He glanced toward the lake nervously before lowering his voice. "Donna never told the full board about the Marina lease. Interesting. She said you were bluffing. She also trespassed on my property." Carl looked miserable. "I know. You know about the fake consulting payments, too." His face changed immediately. There it was. Fear, real fear this time. She handled legal matters independently, he said carefully. That sounds expensive, Carl swallowed. Look, some of us think this has gone too far. I folded my arms. Too far was calling the sheriff on me for fishing in my own lake. He nodded weakly. Then he handed me the folder. Inside sat copies of HOA expense reports, internal emails, and meeting notes. One line stood out immediately. Emergency Litigation Reserve approved under executive authority. Signed solely by Donna Whitaker. No board vote, no resident approval, just Donna. Carl rubbed his forehead. She kept saying if we forced enough pressure, you would eventually sell. That sentence stayed in the air between us. Not if, when. Sell. This was never just about access. It was leverage. And suddenly the whole fight looked different. I closed the folder slowly. Carl, I said quietly, who exactly wanted me off this lake that badly? Before he could answer, Ranger turned sharply toward the road and growled. A black SUV sat parked just beyond the ranch gate. Dark windows, engine running, watching the house, watching me. Carl went pale immediately. Oh no, he whispered. What? He stared at the SUV like he recognized it. That is not HOA. The passenger window rolled down slightly. Just enough for a man in a gray suit to lift a phone and take a picture of my ranch. Then the SUV drove away without a word. Carl looked sick. And for the first time since this whole mess started, I realized Donna Whitaker might not be the person actually running the game. The black SUV disappeared down the county road without a sound except gravel crunching under expensive tires. Carl kept staring after it. You know them, I said. He rubbed both hands over his face before answering. I know who they work for. Start talking. He hesitated long enough for Ranger to bark again. Then Carl finally said the name. Blackwater Land Group. I had heard of them. Everybody in Montana had. Luxury lake developments. High-end gated communities. Resort neighborhoods built where ranch land used to exist. They bought old properties cheap, buried county boards in paperwork, then tripled land values with waterfront construction. And suddenly, the Marina fight made a lot more sense. They want the lake, I said. Carl nodded weakly. I folded my arms. How long has Donna been talking to them? I do not know exactly. Try. Maybe a year. That stopped me cold. A year. Which meant this whole thing started long before Donna called the sheriff on me. Long before the Marina gate. Long before the crowbar and the dead fish. I looked toward the water. The lake sat calm beneath the afternoon light while cottonwoods moved gently along the shore. Same lake my brother fished. Same lake I thought this fight was about protecting from an HOA. Turns out it was bigger, much bigger. Carl lowered his voice. Donna said Blackwater could transform the whole area. More money, more tourism, better property values. And where exactly was my ranch supposed to fit into this fantasy? His silence answered the question. It did not. That evening, Ellen Brooks came back to the ranch after reviewing Carl's documents. Travis joined us too, spreading maps and property records across my kitchen table while Ranger slept under the chair. Ellen pointed at a highlighted parcel map. Your lake sits in the center of every valuable acre they want. Travis slid another document over. Blackwater Preliminary Concept Proposal. Luxury cabins, private marina expansion, waterfront retail space, exclusive shoreline homes. My ranch sat highlighted in red under one label, pending acquisition. I stared at the paper for a long moment. They already mapped my land. They expected Donna to pressure you into selling, Ellen said. She kept escalating because she thought you would eventually fold, Travis added. And if I refused, Ellen gave me a flat look. Then they isolate you legally, damage property values around you, and bury you in hearings until selling becomes cheaper than fighting. The room went quiet, not because I was shocked, because suddenly every piece fit together perfectly. The fake HOA fines, the emergency authority nonsense, the pressure campaigns, the public humiliation, the Marina access fight. None of it was random. It was leverage. Travis leaned back in the chair slowly. You realize this is no longer just an HOA dispute. No, I said. Now it is a land grab. The next morning, I woke to tire tracks cutting through the grass beside my mailbox. Not random ones either. Heavy SUV tires. Deliberate. A white envelope sat shoved halfway inside the mailbox door. No stamp again. Inside were photographs. Me loading my boat, me fixing fence wire, me standing beside the Marina gate. One photo even showed Ranger lying asleep on my porch. On the back of the last picture, somebody had written 3 words in black marker. Sell the lake. I stared at it long enough for anger to cool into something sharper. Focus. Because intimidation only works if it changes your behavior. Instead, I called Ellen. Then Sheriff Cole. Then Travis. By noon, we had all gathered at the ranch house again. Sheriff Cole studied the photographs carefully. No fingerprints. They want me nervous, I said. They succeeded? I looked at the lake through the kitchen window. No. Cole nodded once. Good answer. Ellen placed another folder on the table. I dug deeper into Blackwater, she said. 3 active developments under investigation for zoning violations. 1 pending lawsuit involving manipulated environmental reports. That enough to stop them? Not yet. Travis leaned forward suddenly. But public attention might. Everybody looked at him. He tapped the photographs. These people thrive in quiet negotiations. They hate visibility. That sparked something immediately. Because Donna Whitaker had spent weeks controlling the narrative inside Silver Ridge. What she could not control was public exposure. 3 hours later, I stood beside the Marina gate, setting up folding chairs again. Only this time, reporters were coming. Small local ones at first. County paper, regional news van, a radio host from Billings who smelled like cigarettes and coffee. By 5 p.m., nearly 100 residents had gathered beside the lake. Donna arrived late, and the second she stepped out of her SUV and saw cameras, I knew she was in trouble. I walked to the microphone. Travis borrowed from the high school football field and held up the Blackwater proposal map. This, I said calmly, is what Silver Ridge leadership has been hiding. The crowd quieted instantly. I projected the concept image onto a portable screen beside the dock. Gasps rolled through the residents immediately, because the plan showed everything. Demolished tree lines, expanded luxury shoreline homes, commercial marina expansion, golf cart paths cutting through current neighborhood lots. One woman near the front actually grabbed her chest. They are tearing out our houses? Reassessing them first, Ellen said loudly enough for everyone to hear. Then pricing many current owners out through redevelopment fees. Chaos exploded across the crowd. People shouting, questions everywhere, phones recording. Donna stepped toward the microphone fast. This is misleading. I held up another document. Signed consulting agreements between Blackwater and Willow Strategic Consulting. Donna Whitaker's company. The crowd erupted harder this time. You took money? You told us this was about protecting the lake. You lied to everybody. Donna's composure finally cracked completely. You people have no idea what progress costs, she shouted. This town is dying. Blackwater would bring real money here. June Patterson stepped forward from the crowd slowly. My husband built half this neighborhood with his own hands, she said quietly. And you tried to sell it without even telling us. Donna looked around desperately for support. Nobody moved. That was the moment she lost Silver Ridge for good. Then Sheriff Mason Cole stepped beside me and handed over another surprise. A printed county notice. I unfolded it carefully. Official zoning review suspension pending investigation. Blackwater's proposal had just been frozen. The crowd burst into applause. So suddenly, even I was caught off guard. Donna looked like somebody punched the air out of her lungs. But before I could say another word, Travis grabbed my arm and pointed toward the far edge of the parking lot. The black SUV had returned. Only this time the suited man was not hiding. He stood beside the vehicle calmly watching me while speaking into his phone. Then he smiled. Not nervous, not worried, confident. Like a man who believed this fight was still just beginning. And deep down I realized he was probably right. The suited man stayed near the black SUV until the crowd finally started breaking apart. He never approached me, never shouted, never threatened. He only watched the lake, the gate, the residents, and me like he was pricing each one in his head. Before leaving, he slid something under my windshield wiper. A business card, Blackwater Land Group, Grant Ellison, Regional Development Director. On the back, written in neat blue ink, "You should have taken the quiet offer." I handed it to Sheriff Cole before the taillights disappeared. Cole read it once. That sounds like a threat. Sounds like a confession waiting to happen. He almost smiled. Keep everything. That became the rule of my life. Keep everything. Every email, every note, every tire track, every camera file, every public, Lydonna told, trying to save herself. By midnight, Ellen had already filed an emergency request with the county to preserve all Silver Ridge HOA financial records. She also sent a litigation hold to Donna, Carl, the remaining board members, and Blackwater Land Group. That meant nobody was supposed to delete anything. People who are guilty hate paperwork like that. At 3:18 a.m., Ranger woke me, not barking, growling, low and steady at the bedroom door. I sat up immediately. The house was dark except for the small red light of the security monitor blinking in the hallway. Then I saw the glow through the window. Orange, not sunrise. Fire. I ran outside barefoot before my mind caught up with my body. Down by the marina, flames crawled across the old dock in long, bright strips. The red private property sign warped in the heat. Smoke rolled over the water, thick and black, carrying the sharp stink of gasoline and burning treated lumber. I grabbed the extinguisher from the truck and sprinted downhill with Ranger right behind me. By the time I reached the shore, half the dock was already gone. The fire snapped through dry planks and jumped along the railing like it had been poured there on purpose. I emptied the extinguisher at the near edge, enough to slow it but not save it. I called 911 with my hands shaking from adrenaline, not fear. "Fire at Silver Ridge Marina," I said. "Private property. Possible arson." Then I stood back because I knew enough not to destroy evidence trying to prove a point. Fire trucks arrived 20 minutes later. Sheriff Cole arrived 5 minutes after that, still in jeans and a jacket, his badge clipped crooked to his belt. He took one look at the dock and said, "Gasoline. You can smell it? From the road." By sunrise, the marina was taped off. The dock sat black and broken against the pale water. The fire marshal crouched near a charred piling, scraping residue into an evidence bag. Ellen arrived wearing boots and no expression. Travis arrived holding 2 coffees and looking like he wanted to hit something, but knew better. Then Carl Benson arrived, not through the gate, not with the residents. He came from the tree line on the east side, face pale, sweater vest zipped wrong. "I heard about the fire," he said. Sheriff Cole turned slowly. "From who?" Carl froze. That one question did more damage than shouting ever could. People are talking." At 6 in the morning, Carl swallowed. Cole stepped closer. "Carl, where were you last night?" "At home." "Can anyone confirm that?" "My wife." "Good, we'll ask her." Carl looked toward the burned dock and then toward me. "You think I did this?" I said nothing, because my answer was already recording on the security system. The camera over the marina office had survived. Barely. Its casing was scorched, but the memory card was intact. By 8:40 a.m., we were gathered inside my kitchen watching grainy footage on Ellen's laptop. The image showed the dock at 2:57 a.m., dark water. Still air, then movement. A man in a hooded jacket appeared near the old storage shed, carrying a red gas can. He moved carefully, but not carefully enough. The moon caught his glasses when he turned. "Carl Benson," Travis muttered. "You idiot." The footage showed him pouring liquid along the first stretch of dock, backing away, then tossing something small toward the planks. A flash. Fire. Carl stumbling back so fast he nearly fell. The video ended when smoke swallowed the camera. Sheriff Cole looked at Carl, who had gone completely gray. Carl's mouth opened, closed, opened again. "That is not me," Cole said. "Carl, it is not." Ellen paused the frame where the glasses flashed. "Those look like the same glasses you are wearing." Carl ripped them off his face, like they had betrayed him. Then June Patterson's voice came from the doorway. "It is him." None of us had heard her come in. She stood beside the kitchen entrance, holding her purse with both hands, eyes fixed on the frozen image. "I saw his car near the Marina Road at 3 this morning," she said. "I thought he was meeting Donna." Carl turned on her. "June, be quiet. Wrong move." Sheriff Cole's posture changed instantly. "Do not tell a witness to be quiet." Carl's face crumpled. "I did not mean for it to spread," he said suddenly. "It was supposed to scare him. Just scare him." The kitchen went silent. There it was. Not a denial. A confession wearing panic. Ellen leaned forward. "Who told you to scare him?" Carl stared at the floor. Nobody moved. Then he whispered. "Donna said Blackwater was walking away." She said, "If Caleb looked unstable, if the marina became unsafe, the county might step in." My stomach turned cold, so that was the new strategy. Make my property look dangerous, make me look reckless. Force county intervention. Revive the development deal. Sheriff Cole stepped behind Carl and spoke quietly. "Carl Benson, you are under arrest on suspicion of arson, criminal mischief, and making false statements." Carl did not fight. He looked relieved, like the lie had weighed more than the handcuffs. By noon, the story was everywhere. HOA treasurer arrested in Marina fire. Donna Whitaker issued a statement calling Carl a troubled individual acting alone. 5 minutes later, Ellen forwarded me an email. Carl had given investigators permission to pull from his phone. From Donna Whitaker. Subject: pressure. We need visible evidence that Mercer cannot safely manage the marina before the hearing. Ellen's message below it was short. Now we have conspiracy. That afternoon, the county council scheduled an emergency hearing for Monday morning. The notice arrived by email at 4:12 p.m. Matter: Mercer Ranch Lake Access, Silver Ridge HOA claims marina ownership and public safety review. I printed it and pinned it beside my ranch deed on the kitchen wall. Ranger sat under the window watching the burned dock smoke in the distance. For the first time since Donna called the sheriff on me, the whole thing felt quiet. Not peaceful, quiet. The kind of quiet before a verdict. Monday morning arrived gray and cold over Winslow County. Low clouds hung above the courthouse square, while residents packed the sidewalks outside the county administration building. News vans lined the curb, cameras, reporters. Residents whispering in clusters. By 8:30 a.m., half the county seemed to know about the Ranch Lake War. I parked beside Sheriff Cole's truck and sat there for a moment, with Ranger resting his chin on the passenger seat. The burned marina still smelled faintly of smoke on my jacket. Travis looked over from the driver's side. "You ready?" "No," I said, honestly. "But I am finished letting them lie." That was enough. Inside, the hearing room was already packed. Silver Ridge residents filled the back rows shoulder to shoulder. Some looked angry, others embarrassed. A few looked exhausted. Donna Whitaker sat near the front with 2 attorneys and a stack of folders she kept rearranging every 30 seconds. When she saw me walk in, her expression hardened instantly. But this time there was something underneath it: fear. Ellen Brooks carried our files to the front table while Sheriff Cole took a seat near the county council desk. Travis stayed beside the wall with June Patterson and several residents who had already agreed to testify if needed. At exactly 9 a.m., County Commissioner Harold Reeves opened the hearing. This proceeding concerns disputed authority claims regarding Mercer Ranch Lake, Silver Ridge Marina, HOA governance actions, and associated criminal allegations. Nobody moved. Nobody coughed. Even the reporters stopped typing. Reeves looked toward Donna first. "Miss Whitaker, Silver Ridge Estates claims community access rights over the lake and marina facilities. Please provide the legal basis. Donna stood immediately, like she had rehearsed the moment all weekend. For over 20 years, Silver Ridge residents maintained and used the lakefront as a community resource. The HOA acted in good faith to preserve public access against sudden hostile interference. She sounded polished, confident, until Reeves interrupted. Do you possess any recorded deed, easement, or ownership filing granting Silver Ridge control of the lake? Donna hesitated. 1 second. 2. Then she said, not directly. That word hit the room hard. Reeves leaned back slowly. So the answer is no. Her attorney stepped in quickly. Historical community reliance may still establish equitable interest. Ellen stood before he could finish. No recorded easement exists, she said calmly. No access covenant. No shoreline transfer. No legal authority whatsoever. Then she handed copies of my ranch deed and marina purchase agreement directly to the commissioners. Every page stamped, every signature certified. Reeves reviewed the documents silently, while reporters leaned forward trying to photograph them. Ellen continued, Mr. Mercer legally purchased Mercer Ranch, including all associated shoreline and lake rights. Separately, he legally purchased Silver Ridge Marina after the HO lease expired. She held up the expired lease agreement next. Silver Ridge Estates knowingly continued asserting ownership claims after losing legal access. Murmurs rolled through the room. Donna's attorney objected immediately. The HOA believed negotiations were ongoing. Ellen smiled slightly. Then perhaps Miss Whitaker can explain why she filed emergency enforcement notices against property she did not own. That shifted everything. Commissioner Reeves looked directly at Donna. Can you explain that? Donna tried. At first, she talked about protecting families, community heritage, resident expectations. Then Ellen introduced the security footage. The room watched Donna Whitaker holding a crowbar inside my boathouse. Nobody spoke afterward, not even Donna. Then came the fish dumping footage, then the HOA invoices, the Willow strategic consulting payments, the Blackwater proposal maps. Each document hit harder than the last, because together they told one ugly story. Donna Whitaker had weaponized the HOA to pressure me off my land while secretly coordinating with Blackwater Land Group. By the time Ellen introduced Carl Benson's email confession tied to the Marina fire, Donna's own attorneys stopped making eye contact with her. Commissioner Reeves turned toward Sheriff Cole. Sheriff, is there an active criminal investigation related to these events? Yes, sir. Please summarize. Cole stood slowly. Current investigations include trespass, false reporting, property destruction, misuse of HOA funds, conspiracy related to arson, and attempted coercion involving Mercer Ranch properties. The room exploded into whispers. Donna slammed her hands onto the table. This is absurd, she shouted. He manipulated all of you. Reeves' voice hardened immediately. Miss Whitaker, control yourself. He sabotaged the community. You broke into his boathouse, June Patterson said from the audience. Donna spun toward her. You do not understand what was at stake. That was the wrong thing to say. Because Commissioner Reeves immediately asked the question, nobody had spoken out loud yet. What exactly was at stake? Silence. Donna looked toward the Blackwater representatives seated quietly near the back wall. One of them stood abruptly, gray suit, the same man from the SUV, Grant Ellison. Our company explored potential development opportunities in the area, he said carefully. Nothing improper occurred. Ellen slid one final document across the table. Blackwater Internal Acquisition Map, highlighted in red, Mercer Ranch, target holdout property. Grant Ellison stopped talking. Commissioner Reeves stared at the map for several long seconds. Then he removed his glasses slowly. So this entire conflict began because developers wanted control of the lake. Nobody answered. They did not need to. The room already understood. Reeves, called a short recess after that. When the commissioners returned 20 minutes later, the decision came fast. Silver Ridge Estates held no ownership rights over Mercer Ranch Lake or Marina properties. All emergency HOA claims were void. All enforcement actions against me were dismissed. The county formally suspended Silver Ridge HOA Lake Authority, pending financial investigation and criminal review. Blackwater's redevelopment application was frozen indefinitely, and Donna Whitaker was referred for criminal review and civil liability proceedings. The room erupted. Some residents applauded. Others shouted. A few cried openly. Donna just sat there, staring at the table like somebody had pulled the floor out from under her life. Grant Ellison left through a side exit before reporters could corner him. Sheriff Cole approached me near the doorway afterward. "You all right?" I looked through the courthouse window toward the mountains beyond town. "Yeah," I said quietly. "I think I finally am." 3 months later, the burned Marina dock was rebuilt. Better lumber, new pilings, cleaner launch ramps. I removed every Silver Ridge sign myself, not out of anger, out of closure. Then I hung one new sign beside the water. Winslow Public Fishing Dock, respect the land, respect the lake. No HOA logos, no fake authority, no threats, just truth. Opening day brought half the county down to the shoreline. Kids fished from the dock. June Patterson brought lemonade. Travis grilled burgers beside the Marina office, while Ranger wandered around collecting scraps from tourists who ignored every rule about feeding dogs. Near sunset, Sheriff Cole walked down the dock carrying 2 coffees. He handed me one. "Funny thing," he said. "Whole county spent weeks arguing over who owned the lake." I looked out across the calm water glowing gold beneath the evening sun. "Turns out the lake never needed an HOA," I said. Cole nodded once. It just needed the truth. And for the first time since Donna Whitaker stepped onto my shoreline, screaming about trespassing, the lake finally felt quiet again.
You know, if there's one thing this home has taught me, is that a lot of problems grow because good people stay quiet too long. I try being polite, I try staying out of the way, but when someone keeps pushing past your boundaries, whether it's your land, your home, or your peace of mind, eventually you have to stand up calmly and let the truth speak for itself. Not with anger, not with revenge, just with fast, patience, and the courage to stop backing down. And honestly, I think that's matter more now than ever. Folks work their home lines for a little piece of peace, a porch, a dog, a strand of water, a place where family memories live. There's nothing wrong with protecting that the right way. So let me ask you something. If you were in colored boots, would you have fought for the lake too? Type yes if you would stood your ground, or drop the word true in the comments if you believe honesty still matters more than power. And if you enjoy stories about quiet people standing firm, protecting what's theirs, and fighting justice without losing themselves along the way, go ahead, surprise. There are plenty more stories waiting down the road.